Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. Today we are going to take a look at the Crime Syndicate of America. I made a video way back when, but we probably can make a more up-to-date version today. And also, let's get started with basically some base items we can get. You can see there's some awesome All-Man statue, Ultraman statues, and Superwoman statues that we can get. And there's some awesome also All Signal that we can get. And obviously, there's the awesome Crime Syndicate of America official table that you can also get. There might be other base items that I forget to mention, but already those are some pretty awesome base items that you can get if you want to create an official Crime Syndicate base for your characters. These items come from the Earth 3 DLC, but even if you somehow cannot play the Earth 3 DLC, you can still purchase those items from the broker if you want to. Usually buying them from the broker is the easiest option, although at some point, once you play the Earth 3 DLC and gather pretty much purchase pretty much all the equipment you need from the Earth 3 DLC, then you could use whatever marks you need to purchase some of those statues or even the Crime Syndicate of America table. And let's start with our friend Ultraman. Here, this is a pretty close version of the original version of the character as it was first created. It's not exactly it. I guess this is more, with the hairstyle, it's more like the 1970s version, but it works well enough. He had those like spiky shoulder thingy. He only had bracers as opposed to gloves. Here I'm using the mirror bracers. I'm using the nuclear boots. The chest piece and the pants, it's the Stalwart Defender. The cape, I just went with the classic cape. I'm pretty sure he didn't have the emblem on the back way back when. And the shoulders are the Absolute Zero shoulders. And obviously I'm using the U emblem. For the style, I'm using the brushed hairstyle. Although even though I did set the style to black, it's not really black. It's more like dark shades of gray. Doesn't matter. And obviously I'm using the emissive eyes for the eyes, obviously. And then if you want to go the extra mile, I guess you could use the ferrous material for the bracers and the boots to get some nice shiny red bracer and boots. Otherwise, as you saw, even though I'm using red, there's already a bit of hint in some of the styles. So using the ferrous material gets rid of that. It gives us a nicer red for some of the items, for some of the styles. And then sadly, the original Crime Syndicate of America was destroyed during the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Basically, a whole bunch of universes were destroyed in the DC universe, and sadly, the universe where the Crime Syndicate came from, the Earth 3 universe, was destroyed. And then it was Grant Morrison with Frank Whiteley tried to reinvent the Crime Syndicate in the late 90s, early 2000, like 1999, 2000, I forget. And they tried to give us a new version of those characters. Basically, they reinvented those characters in the Earth 2 graphic novel. Originally, again, the Crime Syndicate came from Earth 3 when they decided to reinvent them. Sadly, the multiverse was no longer existed at the time. So what they did is that they created an alternate Earth in the antimatter universe, and they labeled it Earth 2. And so here we have a pretty nice approximation of our friend Ultraman from the Earth 2 comic book. Obviously, I have to use the New 52 Ultraman emblem. It's either that or the U emblem. There's no emblem for Ultraman from Earth 2, but again here we can get a pretty close approximation of the character. Here I'm using the Ultra Kryptonian cape. I'm pretty sure the Earth 2... I'm not sure if the Earth 2 Ultraman was using just the classic cape or if he had the emblem. It's been a while, but it works well enough with the character. Either version would work well. You could decide to just use the classic cape to recreate this look. Obviously, the Ultra Kryptonian cape is a bit difficult to get and it's a bit pricey on the broker, so it would be easy to understand why people would prefer to use the classic cape. And that version of the character lasted until the New 52, basically. But in the meantime, we had a new version that came from the animated movie Crisis on Two Earths, which somewhat looked like this. For the cape, you could go for either red or yellow, depending on what you prefer. Basically, they had in the animated movie a double-sided cape where the outside of the cape was red and the inside was yellow, and you decide what you prefer. I might be tempted to go with the yellow cape, although I guess it could use a bit more red. For the shoulders, I'm using the Riot shoulders. Basically, the character had those big spiky shoulders again. But in this time it was in the yellow scheme. Here I'm using the reverse slimline chest piece so that we can get also basically the whole top part of the costume was yellow and it was like those big shoulders all pretty much in one piece. Not really able to reproduce that in this Universe Online, but within the context of the styles we have, this is as close as it gets. The belt is one of the chickmate belts, and again the bracers are the Mura bracers and the boots are the nuclear boots. And again, for the chest piece, I went with the reverse slimline, and the same with the pants. And obviously, I like it a bit better with the Stalwart Defender chest and pants. But we cannot get just the top of the Stalwart Defender chest yellow the same way we can get the reverse slimline, so you decide which one we prefer. And obviously, if you have it, you may decide to use the Sinister material for pretty much all the yellow parts. Using the Sinister material allows us to have a uniform yellow for every pieces, as opposed to, as you saw, the shoulders weren't quite the same color as the bracers and as the belt, even though we were using the same yellow. But then, what had to happen happened. We got the new 52, and basically they rebooted the DC Universe. And eventually, we got, with the Forever Evil storyline, we got a new version of the Crime Syndicate of America. And here we can recreate a pretty darn good version of the new 52 Ultraman if we want to. And obviously we have the new accessories with the green kryptonite. I thought it was appropriate with this character. Obviously, the character didn't have those. And again, as you can see, using the Stalwart Defender chest, belt, pants, and boots, we can recreate a pretty darn accurate version of the new 52 Ultraman. And it's pretty awesome. Obviously, you are going to want to give your Ultraman character some Kryptonian powers. Personally, what I like to use a Heat Vision, obviously. But there are other powers we can use, like Freeze Breath. And I kind of like to choose in the Flight powers. But you decide what you prefer to use. So, again, we can create a pretty darn good version of our friend Ultraman from the new 52. And the emblem, that's the official Ultraman emblem, obviously. You can get that from either the Notorious Time capsules, but by now I would strongly suggest just buy it from the broker. It's usually not that expensive. And here we have our friend Allman. This is pretty much as close to the original version of the character as I was able to get to, and it's pretty darn close. Basically, I'm using the Gadgeteer belt, the Angelic headpiece, the Stalwart Defender chest always work well, and basically I'm using the Stalwart Defender chest because the character didn't have gloves, so it allows me to have the hands not covered. Some of the chest pieces covered hands, sadly. For the pants, I went with the New Genesis pants, obviously. The boots are the cuffed boots. And for the back piece, I went with the Batgirl back piece, also known as the Daring Vigilante back piece. Somehow it has some items have various names in this Universe Online for some reason. Probably the way they're labeled. They're labeled or something. So if you're looking for let's say the Batgirl cape, in some places it's called Batgirl cape, in some places it's called Daring Vigilante cape. So as you see in the broker, it's called Batgirl's cape somehow. And you have to search for cape. If you search for Batgirl, somehow it doesn't come up. And you can see it's not that expensive, 125,000. I know for free-to-play players, that's a fortune. If you're a legendary player, you can get that very easily. There's the Batwoman cape you could get, but it's a bit more expensive. Although you can farm for it. I have a video showing how to farm for the Batwoman cape. So if you want to use that instead, either you have to pay a bit more on the broker, or you're gonna have to farm basically the Batwoman mission over and over until you get the Batwoman cape. So as you see, if you search on the broker, somehow it's labeled as the Batgirl cape. But if you look at the style is called the Daring Vigilante. It's part of the Daring Vigilante set of style. I was going to say set of gear, but it's not really a set of gear, it's a style. And it's a whole set, so let's call it a set of style. So if you purchase the cape on the broker, don't look in your styles for the Batgirl cape, you won't find it. Again, in the style tab, it is labeled as Daring Vigilante. I'm not sure why there were some inconsistencies like that, but it happens from time to time. And as I mentioned previously, at some point, the Earth 3 was destroyed during the Crisis on Infinite Earth, and we got a new Crime Syndicate of America in the Earth 2 comic book. And this is pretty darn close to the Earth 2 version of our friend Allman. That's the official headpiece straight from the Earth 2 comic, although the way they've locked the colors, you can't exactly color it like in the Earth 2 comic, but it's pretty darn close enough. So obviously the headpiece is the prototype All Helm of Omnipotence. If you're wondering how to get this headpiece, I made a whole video about that where I show the 12 collections you need for the headpiece. Most of the styles come from the All Suit. You can purchase the All Suit from the Earth 3 vendor, either in the Watchtower or in the Earth 3 Gotham map. So you can see the back piece, the shoulders, the boots, the belt. These all come from the Earth 3 vendor. For the gloves, I went with the Midnight gloves. It's closer to the look of our friend Allman from Earth 2. And obviously for the chest piece and the pants, I went with the Stalwart Defender. The main reason for that, very simple. I wanted to have a nice big Allman emblem. Obviously the Allman emblem comes from either the Notorious Time capsules, or you can just buy it from the broker. Usually, I strongly suggest if all you're looking for is one item, just buy it from the broker. And then, of course, at some point we got the Crisis on Earth 2 animated movie, or Crisis on 2 Earths actually. And again, I'm using some of the All Suit for the shoulders and the back piece. Obviously, I'm using the O emblem, the slimline chest piece, which you can get at Character Creation. The gloves are the Nightwing gloves. Sadly, for the Nightwing gloves, you have to play a bit of PvP in order to be able to get that. And for the belt and the boots, again, same as the back and the shoulders, it's from the All Suit that you can purchase in the Earth 3 vendor. And the pants are the Exobyte Origin pants, which sadly you can only get during the anniversary event. But this is fairly close to the Allman from the Earth, from the Crisis on 2 Earth animated movie. I may have gone a little bit too blue in the colors. This might be a bit closer to the animated version of the character. Although for the cape, I was tempted to just go for the classic cape. You decide. And then we got the All Suit directly from the New 52. So if you want some official All gear, and this is it. And again, you can purchase it from the Earth 3 vendor. So you're guaranteed to be able to get this style. All you have to do is replay the Earth 3 missions over and over and over until you get all the marks you need to purchase this suit from the vendor. And it is directly designed from the New 52 version of the character. But again, as you saw, I prefer to use the Stalwart Defender chest with the emblem we got from the Notorious Time capsules because it gives us a bigger, and also the enhanced version of the emblem is a bit shinier. So with the Stalwart Defender chest and the Allman emblem, we can get a bigger emblem than we have on this chest piece. But you decide. This chest piece, you can get it just by playing the missions and purchasing it from the vendor, as opposed to the emblem. The emblem, you're going to have to buy it either from the broker, or you're going to have to get lucky and get it from the Notorious Time capsules. So if you don't want to play the broker, and if you don't want to open any time capsules, then this chest piece would give you a nice Allman emblem. And this here is a pretty darn good version of our friend Johnny Quick as it was originally conceived. There's maybe a little too many lightnings, but if you recreate this look and call it Johnny Quick or Quick something, people will understand what you created. And this is the electric chest piece that you can get straight at character creation. The boots are the flash boots, but any number of boots could do the trick. The gloves are the aeronaut gloves. And I'm using the sinister material because the flash boots have this gray tint to them, and the gloves have a bit of tint as well, so I prefer to use the material for those. The headpiece is the partial slimline headpiece that you can get right at character creation, and the pants, any number of slimline pants will do the trick. This here is the reverse slimline. Not sure why, by default I usually use the reverse slimline, but there's a whole bunch of slimline pants that you can use. It doesn't have to be the reverse. And of course the aura is the sparking aura. And then in the Earth 2 comic, when they quote-unquote reinvented the character, they just removed the gloves and they gave him some sort of high-tech headpiece. The future cop kind of looks like the headpiece he had. It's not exactly it, but it's close enough that if you create that look, people will understand where it comes from. And then for the Crisis on 2 Earth animated movie, we got again a new version of our friend Johnny Quick. The suit is pretty much mostly yellow with just like some red boots, red gloves. Here I'm using the Astro gloves, but any number of short gloves will do the trick. Obviously I'm using the Q emblem. For the chest piece and the pants I went with the reverse slim lines. The Dashing Crusader for the mask. For the shoulders, I went with the Ive Master shoulders. The character didn't really have shoulders, but he had like some black parts of his costume around the shoulders. This was about as close as I was able to get to recreating that effect. And for the face, obviously I'm using the protection goggles. And the hair, I'm using the pomp hairstyle. The character had like those long spiky hairs, so that kind of recreated the looks well enough. But with the Earth 3 DLC, we got an official Johnny Quick set of gear. This is the enhanced version of the set of gear, except for the headpiece. I will talk to you about the headpiece in just a bit. But basically, you can get this style either from playing Earth 3 missions, or you can purchase the regular version of the style from the Earth 3 vendor. Again, this is the enhanced version of the style. You could also purchase it from the broker if you don't mind playing the broker game. For the headpiece, I'm using the Forerunner Swiftsuit Tam. I made a video about how you can get this headpiece, so just look through my videos for that. But there is a quick suit headpiece that you can get. Again, playing Earth 3 missions. And you can purchase the regular version from the Earth 3 vendor. You can purchase the enhanced version of the style from the broker. As you can see, somehow on the broker it's called the Speed Demon. And some of those pieces are fairly inexpensive. You can see some are even less than 2,000. So even a premium player could actually purchase some of those. So obviously, some of those pieces are a bit pricey, but as you can see, a lot of them are not that expensive. So you can recreate a pretty darn good version of our friend Johnny Quick if you want to. But obviously, it's a new 52 version of the character, which is fine. The style looks awesome. And next we have our friend Power Ring. This is at the same time the classic version of the character, like the original version of the character, and the new 52 version of the character. I guess somehow when they decided to reinvent the Crime Syndicate of America for the new 52, somehow they didn't really feel like reinventing Power Ring for some reason. Oh well. Here obviously I'm using the Stalwart Defender chest and the official Power Ring emblem. For the boots, I'm using the nuclear boots. The gloves is the aeronaut gloves. And here I'm using the glowing material for the green part, and I'm using the opalescent material for the white part. But obviously if you don't have those materials, then that's not really an option. Oh, and you can see here our little friend, the Hive drone that I purchased just a couple of days ago. I should probably make a video about that. And for the Earth 2 version of the character, sadly, I can't really reproduce that style for various reasons. The style is asymmetrical, which is kind of challenging to do with DC Universe Online. So I couldn't really reproduce the look of the Earth 2 Power Ring, sadly. Maybe if we get more styles in the future, I guess we'll have to wait and see for that. For the Crisis on 2 Earth version of Power Ring, it was a bit challenging to say the least. I went again with the Hive Master shoulders. They gave him the sort of shoulders. Doesn't exactly look like that, but even the rest of the style doesn't really exactly look like that. Like I'm using the Stalwart Defender chest and the pants, but the green part of the top of the chest, not really exactly like that. But again, within the context of DC Universe Online, it's as close as I could get. And the character only has one glove, which is, I suppose, his Power Ring glove or whatever. Although the character is called Power Ring, I guess they decided to make him Power Gloves in the animated version. Although, I could be mistaken. For the belt, I had to use the speed metal. It's pretty much the only kind of belt I have right now that seems to be like just 2 bits on each side of the character. I know there's the Cyborg belt from the Teen Titans DLC that could probably do the trick, but sadly I don't have it yet. So sadly, within the context of DC Universe Online, this is about as close to the version of Power Ring from Crisis on 2 Earths as I was able to get. And next we have the evil Superwoman. I had to switch to my Supergirl character in order to be able to recreate the look, and we can recreate a pretty darn good look of the original version of Superwoman. The one thing is that I'm using one of the long hair Kryptonian from the Kryptonian time capsules. There is a version that has a streak in it. It has a streak in it, so if I could have a white streak, it would be even more perfect. But within the context of the styles I have, this is about as perfect as I can get. Basically, I'm just using the t-shirts, the one-piece shorts, the high heel boots, the short cape, and again the wig, the hairstyle comes from the Kryptonian time capsules. It's one of the long hair style. I forget the actual name. And for the emblem, obviously I'm using the enhanced version of the Superwoman emblem. And crypto is getting all crazy, as you can see. It happens. So this is pretty much as close to the original look of the Superwoman character as we can get within the context of DC Universe Online right now. For the Earth 2 version of the character, I changed the hair to the long hair, the chest piece to the one piece, although we're losing the emblem if we do that. The formal gloves to have some long gloves, and the shoulders are the anti-freeze shoulders. It's not exactly it, but within the context of DC Universe Online, sadly, this is about as close as I was able to get. I guess the alternative would be to use the tank top so that we could have the Superwoman emblem with the character. And for the new 52 version, I went with the T-slimline for the chest piece, the tertiary slimline for the pants, and for the boots, I went with the thigh-high boots. And we can recreate a pretty darn good version of the new 52 Superwoman. But there's probably a handful of slimline chest piece and slimline pants that will do the trick. I guess as long as you have the Superwoman emblem, it does sell the look of the Superwoman character. And then we have our friend Deathstorm. This is pretty darn close to the new 52 version of the character. Although ironically enough, the character was first introduced in the Blackest Night somehow. I will try to show it in just a bit. But this is pretty close to the new 52 version of the character as you can come up with. Basically, and it's pretty easy to reproduce that style. You can recreate it using the streak slimline chest piece, the tertiary slimline pants. The boots, I'm using here the owl boots, but any number of boots could do the trick. For the gloves, you can use the Sinistro gloves. They're fairly easy to get, either from the broker, or there's the Sinistro mission that you can play over and over and over until you get lucky enough to get the gloves. So for the headpiece, the partial slimline, and obviously this is the official Deathstorm emblem. The emblem was a little too bright, so I took it down a bit. And of course, I'm using the partial slimline headpiece. And for the aura, I'm using the Scorching Aura. Obviously, this is a partial version of the Scorching Aura, only for the hands and the head. Sadly, this is about as close to the version of Deathstorm from Blackest Night as I was able to get. I'm using the triangle chest piece, I'm using the Heralds of the Black pants, still the Sinistro gloves, the Absolute Zero chest piece, the Absolute Zero shoulders. For the boots, I stuck with the nuclear boots. Why change what works? And the same for the partial slimline headpiece. For the aura, I went with the purple blighted aura. Again, it's the part for only the hands and the head, but you could use the whole bit if you like. If you have the whole thing, you could decide to use that, I suppose. And obviously there's the corrupted aura that works as well. But it's not very close to looking like Deathstorm from Blackest Night. But again, within within the restrictions we have in DC Universe Online, this was as close as I was able to get. And last but not least, there's the evil cyborg from the Earth 3 from the New 52. Sadly, I wasn't able to really get that close to the character. What I ended up doing was using basically, we already have the New 52 cyborg style in the game, so I pretty much used that. I pretty much used the cybernetic style for pretty much everything. The exception to that being the shoulders. The character, the evil cyborg character, which is called the Grid, if I recall correctly, from the New 52, had those big shoulders. So I'm using the Anti-Monitor shoulders in order to be able to recreate that look. But as you can see, pretty much everything is the cybernetic style. I'm using the undead skin to recreate the look of the character. And the weapon is the cyborg and blaster style. So it's not the gloves are not a pair of gloves. It's actually the end blasters inspired by our friend Cyborg. So this was about as close to the look of the character. I'm not sure if I could have been able to recreate a better version of the character using, there's a new cyborg style that sadly we got with the Teen Titans DLC that I did not even start to purchase yet. As you saw, I purchased the drone and a few other Titans related items. So I guess the cyborg style should be next. We'll have to wait and see. And obviously for the red bit, there was this sort of red energy that the character was generating, at least so it seemed in some of the comics. The red kryptonite aura works well enough to recreate that. There's probably some other red auras that I could have used, maybe next time. So that is pretty much it for the Evil Crime Syndicate of America. Obviously, I didn't cover every members. There's a whole bunch of new members from the New 52 that I didn't cover. There's members from In Crisis on Earth 2 in the animated movie. They added a whole bunch of new members to the team. So obviously, I did not cover every single members of the Crime Syndicate of America throughout the ages, but I've covered a wide sample, I think. I guess you could look at my previous Crime Syndicate of America video. There might be a member or two that I covered there that I did not cover in here. But obviously, if enough of you guys ask, I could probably make a follow-up to this video. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So that is pretty much it for now, guys. So as always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.